Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah wa kafa, wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, khususan ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi ajma'een. My respected brothers, sisters, and dear children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Qari Muhammad Sadiq Ziyai recited few verses which I think is pertinent and relevant to translate. He recited, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. The Quran says, who is better than him who invites to the way of God? And not only that, but does righteous deeds. مَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. And وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. He's proud and confident about his Islam. He's not scared to express and to say that I am a Muslim, I am a believer, I am a follower of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I uphold the values that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam preached. I uphold the values of the glorious Quran. Okay. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. He shouts, he announces, he pronounces, he's proud and he's confident that I am truly a Muslim. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. The Quran then goes on to say, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ. That goodness and evil, righteousness and wretchedness, good practice and bad practice, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ, are not alike. Good and bad, good and evil are not alike. إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Get rid of evil with righteousness. Meaning that the way you deal with evil, the way you deal with people who have been unjust and unfair to you, is not by being unjust and unfair in your dealings with them, but instead, إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Remove the wrong, the evil, by doing good, by being good. And this is, it's really important now to see in hindsight the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. And when you hear the American presidents and when you hear the American soldiers talking about it, you can just see the Dajjal. You can just see the deception. You can just see the hollowness and the emptiness of their rhetoric, really. What have you achieved? What have you gained? Either in Iraq or in Afghanistan, what have you done? Other than ruining a whole nation, ruining your own self. But despite that, the sad thing is, they cannot see that it was wrong. They do not see that it is wrong. And that is the blindness of kufr. That is the blindness. It's so obvious that. But what the point I want to make, the Quran is telling us, is how we get rid of evil. Yes, the blowing up of the Twin Towers undoubtedly was anybody here says it was a good act? I doubt it, yeah. No Muslim would ever, or anybody in sense would say it was a good thing to do that. Okay? That was an evil, done by evil men, whoever they were, okay? Evil done by evil men. But how did this clever nation, the genius, the superpower, what did they do? They did very opposite what the Quran is teaching. And of course you would expect that from kufr. You would expect that from a nation that in fact, I don't know, want to say what our respected speaker will be talking about, a state and a country and people and its system that might in fact be the Dajjal itself, really. What else would you expect from that? But the Quran says, idfa' billati hiya ahsan, that always tackle evil with goodness. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ, if there was any kind of enmity, then it would change into warm relationship, warm friendship, if you were to tackle it that way. You know how many times, remember one thing, Islam is not an abstract being about just beliefs, is it yet?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Do you know one that?
Yes, but a lot of us sadly, yes, a lot of us, and particularly religious Muslims, sadly think that. Okay? The other thing they think about is sherwanis and long beards and long hullas, and they think that is Islam. It is not Islam, brothers. Okay? Those are cultural things. Okay? Islam is really about creating, building good human beings. Okay? The Khalifatullah. People who are seeking the love of God, working for the love of God. This is why it began, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا, whose speech can be better than him? Okay? Who invites people to God and himself does righteousness and goodness. So the point I wanted to make here was, character, morals, values are the most important ingredient and aspect of our deen. The Prophet ﷺ went so far as saying, إِنَّمَا بُئِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. The only reason I have been sent is to perfect moral character. What is he saying? He says, only reason. Where do I get this only from? Well, إِنَّمَا بُئِثْتُ. When you have the innama there, it really is the only reason I'm here for. Can you see the importance, the significance of character building in Islam? Can you see that? There are literally hundreds of ahadith which talk about the importance of character. And this verse is actually teaching us that very important character. And one very important character, which is actually about forgiveness, which is how do you deal with difficult situations. Idfa' billati hiya ahsan. Get rid of evil with goodness. I've just given you an example of how Kafir would react in that situation. What would he do? He would obviously use force. Okay? He would use the wrong means, okay, to do that. Idfa' billati hiya ahsan. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ. The Quran says, if there was any enmity, it would change into waliyun hamim, warm friendship. But Allah goes on to tell us something. He says, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَ إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. This is only going to happen to who? Those who are fortunate, those who are patient, those who have these other qualities. And وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. God goes on to then tell us something else, because we are very easily distracted by the shaitan. Okay? And shaitan is the least powerful of the enemies we have. Alright? We have many enemies, amongst them the world, its trappings and its temptations. Then of course the shaitan. The third the most powerful enemy is what? Our own nafs. That is the biggest enemy. And here, the Quran is telling us that when you have to deal with the shaitan, which is the weakest one, what do you say? There is a magic word. A'udhu billahi. And he runs away. And it does. And the lesson here is that whenever we are distracted by the shaitan, and is anybody here who's not distracted by shaitan? Any fortunate? No, we're always. And the problem is, once, the shaitan is the weakest enemy to deal with. But the problem is, once he gets in, then what happens? Well, he then turns on our nafs. When the nafs is on, that becomes a real problem. Alright? So that is why it's so important that you tackle the shaitan at the very first, immediately. Anyway, I always have, I've made this practice now that whenever my Qari is a master Qari, mashallah, Qari Sadaq Sahib reads the Quran, I always translate the verses, he does, because Quran came for what purpose? Yes, it's to give us good news, it is to warn us, it is a guidance, huda, isn't it? How do you get guidance if you don't understand it? So the translation is so important, I hope all of you, do read translations. It really is important. Okay. Well, we've got very fortunate, we've got a wonderful speaker here, and I'm so delighted to see so many of you here. Al-Haj Ahmad Thomson has many wonderful qualities, and he's been Muslim for more than 30 years, mashallah. He's the co-founder of the Association of Muslim Lawyers, a very experienced barrister himself in human rights and in Islamic wills and what else is there? You sort of specialize in charities, yes. But one thing that really impresses me about Sheikh Ahmed is that he's been very loyal and dedicated to his Sheikh throughout his life. He's really been very dedicated, loving of his Sheikh, and I really see the goodness in him as a reflection of his loyalty and friendship with a wonderful man, Sheikh Abdul Qadir As-Sufi Al-Murabit, who has converted literally thousands of people. Yes, I know, literally thousands. One man he converted, Nafi, and Nafi went on to convert.
I've lost count.
He started his work in Mexico, and we, Alhamdulillah, Crimea helped him then. We gave him £13,000 to set up a bakery in Madrasa in Mexico. Now he has possibly, Javed, what, 300 or 400?
People?
Murids and
No, hundreds.
hundreds, yes. Just one man. And the Sheikh, has done such a wonderful work, mashallah, in creating and developing these great guys and people who love the deen. And Nafi now is doing exactly the same thing in Mexico, and we were fortunate that 10, 12 of them came when they went on Hajj. They came here, and they came to say thank you to Nottingham people, that it's because of our, help 13 years ago, or, some years like that, that they have now embraced Islam. But Sheikh Ahmed has been a murid of one of our great scholars and saints of our times, a genius really, Sheikh Abdul Qadir As-Sufi Al-Murabit, and he's been loyal to him. He's been man of adab really, and I want to say a few words about this adab, because our deen really is about adab, okay? There are a lot of people, sadly nowadays, young people, who are confident, proud, very intelligent, they've got degrees and they've got lots of letters behind them, after their name, who feel that, they don't need anybody. They just can talk to Allah directly. Subhanallah, I wish. Yes. Okay. Allah is everywhere. He can talk, of course. Yes. But how many can do that, really? And this is the arrogance. Okay, those who are, in that have a flawed thinking, okay, that they can, do that. But more than that, they become arrogant and they ignore their own teachers, their own imams, okay, and of course they ignore their own parents as well, and all their buzuks, okay. They look down on them just because they might have a long beard or be wearing a jubba and a big kullaja, and I think, oh, I've made it. No, that is not. That isn't what makes you great. What makes you great is your character. And one of the other things which I say, what really impresses me about the Sheikh is his love and his loyalty to his Sheikh. And I'm sure he would admit that the barakah he has is because of that Sheikh. And without that, really, it would be empty. And I'm saying this to a lot of you because I see that a lot of young people, we don't have many of them who are religious, sadly, who are Islamic. Okay, those few who are have now acquired this evil trait of being arrogant, not showing respect to their imams and their teachers and their mosques and their leaders and their parents. Okay? That is disastrous. That is what the shaitan did, didn't he? What did the shaitan do? Aba wastakbara. He disobeyed God, but he did something else. Wastakbara. He was arrogant. He was? Arrogant means, and when Allah asked him, what stopped you from doing sajda to Adam alayhi salam? He said, Ana khayrum min. I am better than him. Okay? That attitude is a disastrous attitude. Humility, brothers, is what makes a good Muslim. And that is what dedication to a sheikh, to a teacher is all about, the adab is about. Okay? People who have taught you the deen, people who lead you in prayers, if you don't have respect for them, what is your prayer worth? Okay? Really? Islam is about adab, it's about relationships. Adab is really a relationship, It's saying, I love you, okay? And loving the people of God is one of the signs of people, of people of God as well. So, I say there are many things we can talk about Sheikh Ahmad, but this is something that really is outstanding. He's an author of many books, and I'm sure all of you are. Whenever I said to anybody, come, Ahmad is coming, they said, oh, the Dajjal book one. And really, seriously, and someone actually said to me, I became Muslim because I was impressed by the book. So you see, Sheikh Ahmad's, this is Sufi Abdul Qadir's fairs, the barakah of the Sheikh, coming through, that people are, and I'm sure you've all seen this wonderful book. Well, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over the mic to our wonderful guest speaker, Sheikh Ahmad Thomson.